obviously we've got a lot to look at today, but let's start off with qualifying because, of course, we had 4 red flags across the whole session, equaling the record set in Hungary 2016. So it was a pretty crash-filled qualifying session. Now, Ricciardo was into the wall in Q2, which I was particularly disappointed about, but he wasn't the only one to fall foul of turn 15. There was lots of people that went in there. Even Verstappen made that mistake in FP3, I think it was.
He was very lucky because Verstappen, instead of bailing down the escape road or trying to commit to the corner, he just went head in, which protects the tyres, protects the suspension, protects all the components holding that front end together.
Your wing, don't you?
And you just knock off the one bit of the car you can replace. So very strategically done. Not all drivers manage that.
Yeah, a couple of people sort of locked up. We saw Leclerc, although Leclerc did something similar as well, but he decided that he wasn't going to try and go into the runoff. I guess that kind of made the similar decision, it looked like. It was very, very similar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Giovinazzi and Stroll hit there too. That was also in qualifying. Now, we expected the castle section to cause some problems. We all remember I Am Stupid from Leclerc. Unfortunately, he was stupid somewhere else on the track this week. That caused some problems, which obviously it did for Tsunoda. The Sainz's reaction as he was behind him, that caused him to spin into the runoff, and that caused the red flag. Now, speaking of red flags, this is the first thing that I want to ask you, because Norris was given a 3-place grid penalty and 3 points on his super license for not entering the pit lane when the red flag came out. What did you make of this decision from the stewards?
I think he was guided by his team. I believe I heard a radio transcript asking whether he should come in or stay out, and they said for him to stay out and finish the lap he was on. That might have been taken out of context. I've watched this retrospectively. Regardless, I feel like it was very harsh. 3 points and a 3-place grid penalty is extremely harsh, if you ask me. A lot of drivers have done some questionable stuff this year, and 3-place grid penalty, that's massive.
It is quite severe. I think that when it comes to matters of red flags, though, as much as it hurt Lando, I kind of feel like it is the right decision, because you can see on the onboard that he slows down when he sees the red flag. He immediately slows down because it comes on their steering wheel as well. Yeah. But he should know that you have to pit. It's a red flag. The session has stopped. You have to pit. You're not going to go around again because there's a reason why they don't want any cars on track. That's the whole point of a red flag. So he asks his engineer, should I pit? But again, that's kind of like, that doesn't really matter because he should know that you're supposed to go in. That's why they are supposed to follow flag regulations. So that's the slam dunk penalty. That's the grid penalty right there. That makes perfect sense. As for the points, Norris already has several points. They're making a statement,
aren't they?
It is a statement to some degree. I think they're sticking with kind of maybe what the rule book says exactly, because firstly, Norris himself already has a few penalty points for not following flag procedures, not following double yellows, I believe, or yellow flags. And lots of drivers have been, sailing pretty close to the wind when it came to flag procedures, and that was made pretty clear by Michael Massey over the radio to McLaren later on when they were complaining about Tsunoda not slowing down. And Michael Massey basically said, look, nobody's slowing down properly. Everyone should technically be under investigation here. So it is a bit of a statement. Severe, yes, but the right one. I think 3 points and three grid places. As much as I was like, oh no, Lando, because if he hadn't been punished, he might be on that podium right now, given all of the carnage that happened. You never know. So it hurt Lando, definitely, but I have to say, as much as it hurts me, it was the right decision.
It does put Lando on 8 penalty points now in total, which is the highest of any driver throughout the grid. And
I think Hamilton was on 8 at one point. I think he was start the season quite high.
I think he's dropped down 1 or 2 now. Lando is by himself on 8 points. And 12 points, of course, means a race ban. And we've not seen one of those due to penalty points in a long time.
I think Grosjean might have been the last.
Yes, and there is a long way to go this year. There's a lot of races, and penalty points are being dished out quite frequently at the moment because safety is of absolute paramount. And to drill that into drivers' heads or into teams, into the teams and drivers, they need to be punished when they don't follow those flags. And the only way to punish them severely is that threat of not only being demoted but potentially missing a race as well. That would crucify any team. unless you're Haas or Williams, and then it probably wouldn't matter. But it was harsh, and upon reflection, because it was qualifying, so it was a couple of days ago now. Well, it was actually yesterday. It's just quite late on a Sunday. It was relevant. I can see why they've done it, and it just hurts because we're McLaren fans. It really does. And like you said, who knows what that podium could have been, but justified, if you ask me. Yeah, harsh but justified.
Also, looking at qualifying, of course, for the second time in a row, that red flag put Charles Leclerc on pole.
Interesting, isn't it? How 2 races in a row, a red flag has secured a Ferrari pole position. Just 2 different Ferraris this time.
Although
Unusual
Leclerc,
accident.
obviously, he got to start the race this time, at least.
Yeah, that was good. Instead, it was Carlos Sainz in the wall who tapped it, and I said when I watched
it was
this,
Tsunoda
I'm sure
first. It was Tsunoda that hit the wall, and then Sainz reacting to that. He obviously saw the lockup in front of him and reacted, like brake too hard or whatever.
Yep.
And ended up spinning it.
Just pirouetted like you do in a go-kart very easily. I thought, I really hope Ferrari fully checked that car now. They've learnt their lessons from last week, and Carlos actually gets to start this race. But yeah, Ferrari on pole for 2 weeks in a row. But that doesn't necessarily transfer into race pace, which I'm sure we'll get onto later. But they're 1 lap pace at the moment. Barring, I mean, we don't know what the true outcomes of those qualifying sessions would have been if there wasn't any red flags. But at the moment, it's all very close at the top. It's getting very interesting.
Certainly some potential in Ferrari looking a lot more punchy at last, which is what we want to see. We want to see more competition out front on both Saturdays and Sundays. One other thing from qualifying for me was that just mentioning Bottas's worst ever start for Mercedes on pure pace. P10 start for him.
Yeah.